Let's talk about Librela and see how it can potentially help your dog. Librela is a veterinary medicine used for the alleviation of pain associated with osteoarthritis, which is a fancy way of just saying arthritis of the bone. Now, I am going to give you a full rundown of Librela with all the considerations before you make a decision. And so it's very important for you to watch the whole of the video because I am going to give you a lot of things you haven't considered. Now, Librela from Zoetis is the first injectable monthly antibody therapy to alleviate osteoarthritis pain, and this treatment works differently than non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs on NSAID. This is something called monoclonal antibody. It actually functions like naturally occurring antibodies and is eliminated via normal protein degradation pathways in the same way. And Zoetis claims that there is minimal involvement of the liver or kidneys and minimal GI impact. So in a nutshell, what do we have? We have a dog who's struggling with arthritis. We take the dog to the vet. The vet recommends Librela every month, is an injectable and is meant to alleviate the arthritis in your dog, potentially extending their life. What's not to like, right? Well, there are a few considerations you need to make before you actually put your dog on this treatment. The first thing I want you to do is to go with full eyes open into this whole thing. If you have a dog with arthritis, it is very likely that you, just like me, have a senior dog, and senior dogs are a bit more prone to having certain health conditions and difficulties with life. Why? Because they are getting on in age. This simply means that your dog is not as healthy as they once were. They aren't as springy, they aren't as agile, they're not as mobile, their liver, their kidneys, their stomachs, everything is not working as it used to. That's why they are getting on in age. And so this treatment is specifically for dogs that are, as it were, degrading a little bit. And so why is that so important for you to understand? Because if your dog already has some sort of underlying comorbidity or any problem whatsoever with their kidneys, say pancreatitis, diabetes, or any other underlying health issue, this treatment is going to be yet another thing your dog is going to have to contend with. And let me tell you something, administering this drug might have a reaction and adverse effects on your dog because of all the predisposition to all the comorbidities that your dog already does have. So here's a few things you can do, and here are a few tips you can do before you consider putting your dog on Librela. The first thing is watch everything the dog eats and assess all their diet. All their diet needs to be assessed. We need to eliminate anything that might be causing inflammation. What causes inflammation? Anything that's heavily processed, anything that's inflammatory like wheat, barley, corn, soy, or rice. If you give your dog gravy bones or anything like that, for example, those will contain things like sugars or meat and animal derivatives, and they will be highly processed foods. And those highly processed foods aren't very good for your dog. Having your dog's diet dialed in as they get older is extremely important. So make a point of writing down everything the dog eats and everything the dog is getting, and assess the suitability of their diet currently, alongside their levels of activity and whether they are a bit overweight, which is my next point. If your dog is in any shape or form a little bit podgy or a bit overweight, you must, for the sake of your dog, slim your dog down and put them on a diet. It makes absolutely no sense for you to put the dog on such a treatment if your dog is a bit overweight to start with, because those bones are going to be suffering from the extra weight. The joints are really going to struggle because of the extra weight. So by controlling what we feed our dog and the quality of the food we feed our dog, that's surely going to help our dog's arthritis. The next thing I want to discuss is movement. As our dogs get older, they tend to become a lot more sedentary. So what movement is the dog subject to? Keeping the dog involved in daily walks and movement is arguably one of the best things you can do for your dog's joints. Make sure your dogs get regular exercise, and exercise can just be a walk around the block or a walk around the park, or something very, very gentle. But it makes, again, no sense to put your dog on a treatment if your dog is sleeping all day, every day, and you do not take a proactive approach to walking your dog and making them move. By making sure we have the diet dialed down, we have the dog moving, and we get the dog slimmed down, we disproportionately put all the odds in our favor when it comes to osteoarthritis. Now, whether Librela is right for you will actually depend on you. You should absolutely not rely on your veterinarian's opinion alone. You should go into this thing with your eyes wide open. Why? Well, there have been many reports and a hit piece, for lack of a better word, by the Wall Street Journal on Zoetis and Librela and Solensia. And a lot of pet parents have faced a lot of problems and a lot of heartache because a lot of their dogs or cats have been negatively impacted by Librela and Solensia. Now, there are a few caveats when it comes to this report. The first one is it is very hard to establish a correlation and causation together and to say this treatment caused my dog or my cat to get poorly. We again are talking about dogs or cats that are elderly, that have all the issues, that have all the comorbidities, and that again, another treatment just like this is going to put some pressure on the liver, on the kidneys, and our dog's gut. Now, we are talking about a treatment that has been administered millions and millions and millions of times, but there are people saying that this treatment is not for them and should be avoided. So the main takeaway I want you to get from this is you should make the decision. You should sit down and you should be the one going into this with your eyes fully open, because something could actually happen. If you aren't sure about Librela for your dog, there are things you can do to mitigate arthritis. There are things like glucosamine tablets, we have acupuncture, we have canine hydrotherapy, we have turmeric, we have omega-3 fatty acids, and we have suitable diets for senior dogs. Are they comparable to the treatment? No, they aren't comparable to the treatment, but they might be alternative if you are a little bit scared of the potential side effects of the drug. We have actually covered Librela and Solensia extensively on the channel, so there's a lot of information in this video here and this video here, and they will give you a 360 overview and some of the pros and the cons of taking the drug. But the most important takeaway for you is go with eyes wide open and don't get swayed by different opinions. Do what's right for you and your dog, and hopefully you get to keep your dog for many more years. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.